Hello students and welcome to video 4 in chapter 2.4 motivation and demotivation. Quick warning, this video is HL content only. And to see that, in video 1 we did financial rewards, video 2 non-financial and types of training. Video 3 we did the SL motivation theories. In this video and video 5 it's just HL content, and in this video we're going to go through these 4 motivation theories. So let's get going with McClelland's motivation theory, which was written in the 60s by David McClelland. This is called the acquired needs theory, or the 3 needs, or needs theory, or something around those. And basically, he came up with the idea that everyone is driven and motivated by 3 types of needs: the need for achievement, the need for affiliation, and the need for power. So let's go through these in turn. The need for achievement is the feeling of being able to successfully complete tasks. And I think this is quite self-explanatory. When we feel that we achieve something, we are motivated by that thing. But what's interesting here, he said, employees should take on tasks of moderate difficulty. What that means is, if we do tasks that are too easy, then that's not motivational because we know we can achieve them anyway. If we take on tasks that are too difficult, there's a high chance we won't successfully complete them. So the theory here is we want to give employees, and generally in life, we want to take on tasks which are not too easy, but also not too difficult. Otherwise, we might fail. The need for power is important, which is a need for prestige, status, and being able to influence others within an organization. And again, I think this is quite self-explanatory. Being in charge, being able to make decisions can be quite motivational for some people. Having the prestige, the status, again, can be quite motivational. This may, however, involve competition with others because not everyone can have power. So when there are promotion opportunities, there might be some people competing for it in that situation. The need for affiliation is the need to be part of a group. So you need to feel accepted, respected by people within the group. And working as part of a team to collaborate on tasks and goals can be something that meets this need. So we talked about team working as a non-financial reward. So that would be something which motivates people. The implication of this is, in his research, McClelland found that in general, people tend to favor one of these needs over the other 2. So yourselves, you might think, well, one of these is more important for you than others. So some people might think, well, achievement's more important. In his research, he found that managers tend to favor the need for power, which kind of makes sense. So managers are people who are in, higher stages within the hierarchy within the organization. And so these people have felt a desire to move upwards because they want the prestige and status, the ability to influence others within the organization. In general, this theory can show managers how to motivate employees. So, for example, if a company has lots of people who want the need for affiliation, then maybe using more team working might motivate those people. Similarly, if there's lots of employees with a need for achievement, then they can make sure they design tasks of moderate difficulty. Okay, on to the second one, which is Deci and Ryan's motivation theory. This is also called self-determination theory. This was created by Edward Deci and Richard Ryan in the 1980s. And again, this theory is into 3 parts: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. And this theory is saying that we need to satisfy these 3 in order for people to have motivation to do things. So autonomy is the ability to control one's situation, have freedom. And this is more about your own choices. This is actually quite similar to the need for power from the previous one with McClelland. But autonomy is more about choice over your own situation. So in order to motivate employees, then companies would give their staff autonomy. So give them more choice, more agency over what they do. Maybe they can choose their working hours, they can choose what training to go on, etc., etc. Secondly, we got competence, and this is the feeling of being accomplished at something. And this is quite similar for the need for achievement with McClelland's motivation theory. In this situation, employees want to feel like they're good at something, they're accomplished. So the business, in order to do that, they can provide opportunities for training so that employees can develop skills and knowledge in order so that they can become better at their job. And that's kind of self-explanatory. When we're good at something, we're generally quite motivated to do it. Finally, relatedness. And this is interacting and feeling connected to others. And this is similar for the need for affiliation under McClelland's theory. So this is basically being part of a group, being accepted by the group. And again, we can provide teamwork opportunities here. So the implication here is very much a focus on intrinsic motivation. So employees enjoying the work for what it is. So the first three theories we looked at were Maslow, Hertzberg, and Taylor. And they focused on, well, Taylor focused just on extrinsic, so paying people, rewarding people with money. And then Hertzberg and Maslow brought in more extrinsic motivation, but they also focused on the intrinsic as well. So this motivation theory is just intrinsic motivation, the same with McClelland. So it's more focusing on getting employees to enjoy the job for what it is. And so by filling these three, then we can improve employees' self-determination and their motivation to do the job. Okay, let's move on to the final two motivation theories of the 7. So the first one is Adams's equity theory. Equity here means equal, created by John Adams in 1960. And he said to be motivated, employees need to feel that what they put into the job, the input, is the same as what they get out of the job, or what they get out of the job is equal to what they put in the job. And this is often in comparison to other people. So just to go through that in a bit more detail, what do we put into the job? What are the inputs? Well, this is things like the time we put into the job, the effort, our ability and skills, the loyalty we give to the company, etc., etc. It's all the things that we put into our job. The outputs are what we get back. So things like our salary, the bonus, fringe benefits, but also things like how much recognition do we get from the job? How much challenge do we get from the job? How much loyalty do we get from the company back? And Adams's equity theory is saying that these two need to be balanced, otherwise employees will not be motivated. So let's just dig into that a little bit deeper. So what about if employees are not rewarded enough? And that means that they're putting a lot into the job, but they're not getting enough out of it. That kind of makes sense. We've all been in situations where we've worked hard for something, but we don't get the required outcome. And that can be demotivational. So maybe an employee feels that they're putting everything into the job, but they're not getting paid enough, or they're not getting enough recognition, especially in comparison to others. So if employees see that they're putting lots of work in, but other people are getting higher pay or other people are getting more recognition, that can be very demotivational. But what about if we're getting rewarded too much? What about if we're putting a certain amount into our job, but we're getting lots of reward from the job? Surely that's motivational? Well, Adam's equity theory would say no. And let me give an example. Let's say you do a test and you do no work, you do no preparation for the test, and you get a really good grade. Will you be happy? Of course. But would you be motivated to work hard for the next test? Questionable, because you know that if you do no work, you get a good grade. So why should you work for the next test? Remember, motivation is not about happiness. It's about how much work you do. Yes, in general, the happier we are, the more we're motivated, but not always. So in this situation, Adams is saying that if we don't do any work, but we get lots of recognition, where's the motivation to work? And so overall, equity theory says these needs to be equal, otherwise there'll be demotivation. On to the last one, which is Vroom's expectancy theory, created by Victor Vroom. And he basically said that employees will only be motivated if they see that their efforts will lead to the desired outcome. So using the test situation again, in general, students will work hard if they think they're going to get a good grade. And so Victor Vroom has applied this to the work situation. So employees need expectancy, instrumentality, and valence. And what do these three things mean? So employees must have the feeling that they have the ability to complete the task. So employees will be motivated to do a task if they feel that they can do it. Secondly, instrumentality. Employees will be motivated if they believe they will be rewarded for completing the task. And finally, valence. Employees feel that the reward they get is valuable. So they feel that the reward is valuable and therefore it's worth doing. And so these three things need to be there in order to motivate employees. What about if we put it back to the test situation? Should we work hard for a test? Well, in general, if we feel that we have the ability to do well in the test, if we think we work hard and then we're going to do well, then we're more likely to be motivated to do it. If we think we're going to put lots of work in, but we're still not going to do very well, again, that's less motivational. For the test situation, you need to believe that if you do lots of work, then you'll get a good grade. And therefore, that will be motivational for you. But also, you're going to value the good grade. If somebody does a test, gets a good score, but doesn't value the good score, then that means in the future they're going to be less motivated to do it. So students need to value high grades in order to want to study towards it. Well, that's not the only reason we study for tests, but in general, if we value getting a good score, then that's going to be something that does motivate us to work hard. Okay, we've now done those 3 motivation theories, or 4 motivation theories. In the next video, we're going to finish off the chapter by doing these 2. I'll see you then.